Okay. Hi, everyone. Mike Rosehart here. We are trying this one more time. This time, hopefully, things will be fixed. Can you guys hear and see me? Has the audio been fixed? Has the video been fixed? Can you guys hear and see me? We're hardwired in. I'm using a different hardwiring cabling. Hopefully, the audio and video is fixed. I made some slight tweaks to the delays. I can't guarantee the quality of the playback now, but I'm hoping that I've fixed now the sync between effectively what you're seeing live and what I'm projecting live. Welcome to the Wise Wealth Show. My name is Mike Rosehart. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button and that little subscribe. At the bottom of the video, there's a little subscribe button. Hit that and the notification bell to get notifications when I drop new videos. That would be sweet. We're over 2,000 subs now. The channel is growing. Things are getting bigger and better. My last two videos surprisingly didn't resonate so well with the audience. They got a couple of hundred views. I talked about the stock market, and I talked about, the other video was on the factors that made success. So talking specifically on why moderation might not be a great thing, and why intensity and consistency were so cool. I don't know if that worked. Okay, perfect. All good, in sync. Nice. Hey guys, how you doing? Hey Tommy, Thomas, Robert, Rick, Michael Chung, all the regulars popping on. I'm watching a delayed version of myself on my screen, so it's quite distracting. And I have another screen over here. We're going to do some discussion on real live deals. We're going to do some live deal analysis. As always, we're going to do Q&A. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about what I've been up to, because I give you guys a little update each and every week. So what is the Wise Wealth Show all about, and what am I trying to do with this show? We've done 20 episodes now where I've just been experimenting, and it has honestly been an open experimentation where, you know, from the first one I was just talking about, if you guys remember my first ever live stream, it was terrible. My phone, it was kind of shaky, and just hide under your covers, put your headphones in. Guys, that's good. What was I gonna say? So from the first stream, it was like me talking, if you guys remember, about starting a business. And I wanted to, you know, I've been retired for a while, had a few of my own deals, but I was bored. And I needed something for fulfillment, for purpose. I needed something that was going to keep me engaged. Hey, Jonas, how you doing? Working. I love it. I love a bunch of people are working right now. Jonathan's working. Jonas is working. Gus is hiding in a boarding house school under his bed. I'll try to keep the volume not too loud. You might want to adjust the volume on your side. Get some headphones in. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the live stream. We're going to talk about real estate today. We're going to talk about wealth. When I started this show, when I did my first live stream, I talked about building a big business. And the reason I wanted to do that was to fund what I was doing here on YouTube, and to fund what I'm doing with helping people and mentoring people, and then also to fund sort of this company that can employ a mass amount of people, just bring people into the network and help them unlock fire. Because at the end of the day, I just wanted to bring some friends into London. That's what this company was designed to do. In the process, we are going to have a company. We're going to build this company. It's going to be one of the biggest, I think, in Southwestern Ontario. I'm an Ivy grad, and my business partner who has started the company with me and motivated me to get this company off the ground and said, Mike, like what you're doing is unorthodox. We should be doing this and bringing this level of return, this level of performance to the investors. And so that's what we did. We started a joint venture, effectively a property management company. So we are a property management company that delivers the entire spectrum of everything from deal. Like we literally buy the deal. We'll close on it if the investor doesn't want it. We hand it over to the investor, and then we basically run the numbers for them. We manage everything from start to finish. The investor doesn't get the tenants like number. It's as if this property is 100% passive for them. They just get nice, healthy, juicy returns. We get a small percentage or a decent percentage of appreciation and upside. So if we create value, we share in that value. If there's cash flow, which there always is, we also take a percentage of that in our management company. And so we've done very, very well, guys. I set out with a target on July 1st of buying one property per week in the company. And that meant partnering with investors. And the idea was that every one of our 10 initial investors, we have over 10 investors now who have joined in and partnered with us. We're now looking at 12 and 15 investors pretty soon. But we want each investor to buy 5 properties at the very minimum. And that was what I did. My first ever stream for Wise Wealth was to accomplish 2 things. One, I wanted to help people. I wanted to use this new business. I just was throwing this business idea out there. I want people to help me come up with ideas to build a business. And now we've got that off the ground. Now I want to use this business to help you guys make money effectively to grow your capital. So if you guys want to be an investor, let me know. There are certain, I guess, minimum capital requirements. If you're just watching because you love the Wise Wealth Show and you like that I just give away a ton of free content, that's cool too. That's what this has evolved into. So this has evolved into something where I just basically spent 2 hours giving you free coaching. And we basically just talk about anything, real estate, wealth, personal finance. We'll talk about taxes. I won't give you a legal opinion or an official opinion, but I will happily share my thoughts, my high-level feelings. Don't sue me, so I'm not going to give you anything that's like a legal advice. But basically, we just talk about whatever. You guys ask questions, and I answer those questions. So please now jump in the comments if you do have questions on, how do you save to reach financial independence? How do you invest in real estate? How do you do X or Y? I'm here to help you with the vision aspect, with the execution aspect, and that's something that I do really well. I'm a good executor. But at the end of the day, I'm also a big dreamer. You guys know I got this idea to build 1,000 I want to get 1,000 properties in this company. And so to build a company of that size, I'm going to need a lot of your guys' help to partner and to collaborate. And actually, for those who are watching, if there's some young, hungry person in London, Ontario that you know, or someone wants to move to London, Ontario, we are hiring. We're hiring more people. We have full-time maintenance guys, but we also need someone who can handle property management. We want to train someone to be a property manager. We're doing it ourselves, and I've been doing it for 7-8 years now. I have a lot of systems in place, like I have tenant questionnaires, everything from tenant placement to management. We're creating systems, and we need people to execute on those things. So if someone wants to join this company, if you know someone, send them my way. That'd be cool. I care more about the person's work ethic and who they are than what they currently know. I can teach you how to manage a property. I can teach you how to renovate a property. I can teach you a lot of these things. So that's more important than anything else. But I'm just throwing that out there to the world. Before we get into the live stream, I'm just going to spend like a few minutes with that. And yes, we've unlocked a deal this week, bought a property this week, and we offered a few actually. And we got one locked up, and we might have another one locked up. So it might be two in the last kind of 2-week period, last 10 days or so. So that's exciting. Excited to go to Las Vegas. We're going to do a big road trip, guys. I'm going to go all around. If any people are in like I guess I'm going like through Chicago all the way like Colorado, Vegas, California, and all the way back to Canada. Probably going to rent an RV. Not 100% sure what the plan is. Do we do the hotel and drive, or do we do the RV option? But probably do the RV option. Leaning towards that. So that'll be a cool 2-week, 3-week trip, and do the Vegas mastermind real estate session. There'll be a lot of people there to kind of share and cross-pollinate with. I think in that room, I'm expecting to meet people who are kind of at my level or slightly below my level. So I don't think there'll be a ton of people who are like crushing 300-400 deals, but I am really excited, and I like to share. So I'm really excited to share a lot of what I'm doing there. Hopefully someone's got a new way of doing things that I hadn't thought about before. So yeah, that's sort of what I've been up to the last little bit, guys. We've been perfecting a lot of our systems, getting a lot of systems ironed out as far as what is the process for instance, collecting rent or managing a tenant through to move out. Is there certain standards that they met? And so a lot of that kind of stuff we've been documenting and figuring out. And we've been renovating too. Like you guys know, you guys probably seen the live on Instagram. My house looks totally different now than it did before. We got some really nice glass doors that came in for the office. We got a soundproof door now between the back room. I bought a really sick boardroom. We got a boardroom set up. We got a 10-person boardroom table. We're sitting at the back with a big fireplace. It's going to be the office. It's going to be at the back. We bring in investors. We just have big collab meetings. Maybe we have fire meetups. Whatever there's a whole bunch of ideas that this couldn't hold a London on Fire meetup, but it could hold a mini meetup of maybe 15 people or something. So that's going to be really cool. It's got like the nice brick around the fireplace. Really excited to have some people come out to like the back office. We'll have a TV on the wall. We'll have like the big boardroom feel. So this house is going to be a 9-bedroom, 5-bathroom. Make it balling. I'm gonna have my unit. I have the business. Gonna have one of my best buddies, who's my business partner, gonna be living with me. And then we have a 3-bedroom apartment in the lower. And I think the idea is going to be that so one option is I Airbnb it and get like triple market rent. Another option is I rent it out to some really good like Ivy students or some really smart kids. Put them down there. Some people that are going to help me collaborate. I think I want to have the right sort of mindset of people in the house, or I leave it open and we have people who are joining the company who are maybe they want to do like a coaching opportunity with me and they want me to mentor them or something. So that I might leave some of the rooms open for those sort of mentorship opportunities where they provide value and I provide value and we share. So I don't charge them anything for coaching. They get to learn from me and basically they provide value for value. And so that's something that's really cool. I've been big into the barter system. I love value for value where we don't exchange anything at all. We just each help each other out. And so I'm a big fan of that sort of economy, the barter economy. I see some questions popping down here. I'm loving it. How you guys doing? Tommy, Robert, Jake, how you doing? Jason, good to see you. Okay, so Now we're going to get into some interesting stuff. Now we're going to talk through the live Q&A. We might, if you guys want, workshop a real live situation where we can talk about what makes the most sense for buying or selling a property. We could go on to Realtor.ca MLS and see what's on the multi-listing service and just pick a property, and I can show you guys, an idea. I had an idea too. We could talk about property layouts. I could draw you a layout of a property. I could show you how I've reconfigured the space so it's more optimized to get more rent. So I'll give you examples of that. I haven't thought of any specifically, but I could probably just pick any property, and I've optimized pretty much all of them for cash flow. So anyway, cool. Hopefully everything's synced. The video is still staying on, nice clear connection. The audio and video hopefully are synced up nice. I think we fixed the problem. Everyone says during the live stream it's okay. Whether it's going to be okay on the playback, we're going to find out. I'm going to adjust the settings again. I need to get the delay just right so that on the playback, the audio and video are synced up nice. I have the gigabit internet, so 1,000 download and 30 upload, so it should be not an internet constraint. Shouldn't be a computer constraint. We got the dual graphics card system running. Shouldn't be a camera constraint. I think it's a software constraint because I'm using a free software. I'm using OBS right now, but it seems to be working fairly well. So I guess we'll find out. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. First question. Jason, how you doing? It's going good. I am having a good week. It's been a busy week. Just when you're renovating your own house and you're living through the dust and the mess and the chaos, it can take a toll on you, especially when you have a 2.5-year-old. And so not getting good night's sleep lately with everything going on with that, and renovating a couple of properties, and you know how it is, just dealing with problems. We're managing collectively over 30 properties now, so it's all stresses that are associated with that. Now I know it's a baby company. A deal a week is what we're going to need to grow, but eventually we're going to get to 2 deals a week, and so that'll be exciting. And grab my real estate license as well fairly shortly here. I'm doing the challenge exam for that, so that'll be cool to have that kind of credential and be able to have that insider scoop. Now I still have my wife and my business partner to do wholesale deals, because as a realtor you can't really wholesale. Reason for that is, of course, as a realtor, you have to bring the buyer comps. You have an obligation to give them the fair market value. As a wholesaler, you can say, hey, I'm not a realtor at all. I have no ethical obligation. This is what I want to pay you for the house, right? So you can have a different conversation when you're not a realtor. But as a realtor, I get access to pocket listings, get access to a lot of data, and just kind of helps when we're buying deals off the MLS to be able to negotiate them myself, as opposed to going through another agent. So there's some advantages distinctly to having that license, as well as eventually we've got a brokerage going, a few agents working underneath myself, and those guys I'll be able to use to effectively manage acquisitions. Because when we're buying a property a week, it's taking 20-30 hours of my time just analyzing properties, right? New acquisitions. We need an acquisitions manager, and that's another role we're going to be hiring for soon. I will still always be involved in acquisitions because I love that. Like vision for a property, best use for a property, that's what I'm good at. Cost control, again, what I'm really, really good at. And deal acquisition is what I'm good at. A lot of people talk about deals they've lost money. I have never lost money in real estate, ever. My worst deal, I made a few $1,000s still. So it's hard to really lose money in real estate when you're buying smart. I bought properties last year. I bought a property for $205,000 that sold for $435,000. We put $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 max in renovations. I've looked at the budget, but that's an example of like a real deal that we're doing all the time, like making a couple $100,000 on deals. It's hard to lose. Even in a recession, those kind of properties are such good deals, right? And because we're renovating them for below market cost and unlocking value. And that's the key thing, is adding value in the equation when you're trying to get investing in real estate. The thing with the stock market is you can't add value. You're not in control. Real estate, you use leverage to juice up your returns 5 to 1, and then you can add value. So each percentage of value point you add to the property gives you a 5% rate of return. So if you add 20% to the property, you get 100% return on your capital because you're levered 5 to 1. Hope that's not too much, guys. Pause me if I'm talking too quickly. I can slow things down. I tend to talk too quickly, and that is my bad. Okay. Thoughts on Kanye meeting Trump? I have no thoughts on that at all. I don't even know what's up there. I haven't been following the pop culture there. Michael, you have to tell me what's good. Tell me what's up with that. You guys can be my source for media news. Jake says, hey Mike, hoping to buy my first multi-unit as owner-occupied investment. What are your thoughts on putting 5 versus 20% down? Jake, great question. I love that debate, and I've done a video specifically on that. You should go check it out. I talk about why you should buy with 20% down. I talk about uninsured versus insured mortgages. So In Canada, less than 20% down means you need PMI, private mortgage insurance. And the primary mortgage insurance main company is CMHC, so Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation. There's a few other guys who do it too, but the cost is around, on the high side, 4% of the value of the property that you pay at the date of close, thrown into your mortgage, and amortized over that time. So compounded in a bad way against you. So if you put 5% down and the fee is 4%, you have 1% left over in equity on your property. So let's say you bought, for giggles' sake, a $500,000 property, right? So you'd put $25,000 down on a $500,000 property. Your fee to CMHC would be around $20,000. So you're effectively equity on day one if you sold the property for, call it $30,000 more than $50,000 more than you bought it for after commissions at 5%, right? There's half of that gain gone. And then after the CMHC fees, closing costs on the buy and sell, you would actually make nothing because you bought with PMI. So in the US, there's a bit better deals with PMI. You get a little bit less of a fee. But here in Canada, they're worried about the market being overinflated. And so you effectively have a lot of premium associated with PMI. So I'm not a big fan of the 5% down. I have never once bought a property with less than 20% down. Never. I save and then I buy properties. And I use the cash flow to buy the next one, or I refinance the property to buy the next one. The other downside with PMI is that when you refinance a property, if you do the BRRRR strategy, you buy, you renovate it, you rent it out again, you refinance it, pull the capital out, and repeat the process. If you try to do that and you bought 5% down, you can only ever refi 80% loan to value. So imagine you did that. Imagine you added value to the property in some way, or you bought smart, which is what I advocate you do anyway. But let's say you added some value to the property, right? And now you've created 15% in equity. If you did a private mortgage insurance deal, like CMHC deal at 5% down, you can't pull that equity out. You're at 80% loan to value. You created 15% more. You put 5% down, right? And your fee is there, baked in your mortgage, growing at your interest rate against you, right? So, after 25 years, your private mortgage insurance fee is typically, if you did it over like a 30-year period and you refinance the mortgage once, I ran the numbers, and the CMHC fee on like a $500,000 house is around 6 figures. Yes, 6 figures. So it's very, very expensive. You're paying a lot of fees for private mortgage insurance, way too much in Canada, in my opinion. If it was between no deal and deal, I would say if the deal's sweet enough, do it at 5% down if there's enough margin. But if you have any other option to put 20% down, you should do that. If you can borrow from someone at 15% interest rate, like gross high interest rates from a family member at 10%, if you can borrow at 10% interest, you run the numbers, it's actually cheaper to borrow the difference between 20% down and 5% down, to borrow that additional 15%. It's cheaper to borrow that 10, 15, 18%. You borrow on a credit card, it's cheaper than paying CMHC. So there you go. Some pros for CMHC, to be unbiased and try to be fair. Some pros are to let you get the deal done, where you maybe otherwise couldn't have. Yes, you can't really refinance the capital out, but you could do a 5% down. I've seen someone do it once where it worked and it was decent. A 5% down with a PPI mortgage, purchase plus improvements. And so they put a huge quote together and they were able to pull out all of their money. So they had a zero down deal. Yes, they paid a lot of fees, but they had a zero down deal. So you can do the 5% down with PPI and get a zero down deal. That's cool. You can also do 20% down with PPI and get a zero down deal. So I think there's still better. I think it's not the best way to do things. I think you should do 20% down. And if you need the capital, go get an unsecured line of credit, borrow it from there. Go borrow from friends, family, the hard money market. You go out and call someone. Go on Kijiji and go look. Type in on Craigslist or Kijiji, like hard money lenders. There are guys handing out unsecured credit at 10, 12% all day long. I would way rather take that than take CMHC. On the pro side of CMHC, you get cheaper financing. So the banks have less risk for insured mortgages than uninsured mortgages because the CMHC is guaranteeing them their value on their mortgage. So they'll give you a little bit better interest rate. So if you are buying with private mortgage insurance, less than 20% down, you should expect to get a bit better interest rate. If the interest rate's the same for uninsured versus insured, never, ever would I go with an insured mortgage with CMHC less than 20% down. That is my rant. Check out the video, guys. You go way back in my history. One of the first videos I ever did with bad quality was me in front of a little whiteboard talking about private mortgage insurance and why I buy 20% down versus 5% down, right? And those no money down deals, they're very costly. If I refinanced all of my properties and pulled the equity out over time, if I ran the numbers, if I had done it with 5% down on a couple of those deals, I would be, I have tens of thousands less in value, in equity. So that's not what you want. But if another option, it's okay, Jake. If it's between that and no one else will lend you the money and you can't get any private money lender to do anything for you, and it's deal or no deal, and this deal is so sweet you have to go for it, and it's way below market value, and If 5% down is the only way you can get it done, do it. That's about the only situation I would say what makes sense. Find a better way to do it. There are so many better ways to do it. I myself made a ton of mistakes my first couple deals. I didn't know about all these things. I hadn't researched it. I hadn't spent the time on Google and the hours talking to people and learning about this stuff. And so getting your feet into a deal is better than no deal at all, right? Indecision and sitting there with your hands, sitting on the money, sitting on your hands is the worst thing you can possibly do. So that's what I have to say about that. Hopefully there's some value in that. Okay. Yes, Michael, we will get to a live deal analysis in a little bit here. Gonna bang out some more questions first, and then we'll do the live deal analysis. Okay. I have enough for either option, but with 5% down, can use the remainder for another investment or principal residence down payment. Okay. I'm a big fan of doing the 20% down and then burring. So refinance and pull the capital out, move on to the next project. There are better ways to do it than that. So that's a better way to have more gunpowder. There are things like the Oklahoma mortgages you can do if you're doing a private deal, where you can get a little bit of cash back on the table. Those kinds of things. Say you're going to put in a furnace, get $15,000 cash back from the seller, get a register a mortgage for a higher amount. Not saying that's something you should do, but there are things you can do out there that are better than, I think, 5% down with CMHC here in Canada, private mortgage insurance. That's my rant on that. When can I refinance on an FHA loan? I don't know, Thomas. I'm not a big I don't follow the US stuff, so I don't know about FHA loan. Here in Canada, what you have to do is you have to get to at least basically 20% down payment. So when you get to 80% loan to value, then you can refinance back to 80%. So if you get to 70%, you can refinance back to 80% loan to value. The sad thing about that is if you ever create a ton of equity in your property, let's say after 1 year, what ends up happening is effectively, let's say your property jumps in value and you now have 50% equity in the property, right, with your private mortgage. You've paid this huge amount of fee up front, right? If you understand the way that private mortgage insurance works in Canada, you pay that like say 4% of the purchase price up front as a fee on day one. Now, it's been 6 months or a year and you're now at 50% loan to value. You're going to refinance back 80% loan to value, right? It's been a year. Basically, you paid, call it on that property, $20,000 in CMHC fees and private mortgage insurance fees for benefit for 1 year period, right? Because after a year, you're back to 80% loan to value. Anyway, it didn't allow you, like the value that it provided you by putting 5% down was for such a short amount of time, so such a short period of time. Private mortgage insurance, CMHC fees make a lot of sense in a really flat market where properties never appreciate, where you don't pay down your mortgage. Because as you pay down your mortgage and as the properties appreciate, the value so as soon as you're over 20% down in equity in the property, the value of the PMI is gone. You're paying the insurance premiums forever and the interest on that forever, but the value it's provided you, right, being able to buy into a property for less money down, is gone the minute you're at 20% down. Because if you weren't, you would have just been able to refinance that money out. But you can't refinance below 80% loan to value ever. That's my rant on that. Hope that adds some value to you guys' lives. I need to come down there. Yes, we should meet up, Michael. Send me a DM. We'll do something. Robert says, I'm hungry and I enjoy hard work. Okay, interesting, Robert. Interesting. Maybe there's something there. Man. Send me a message. Hey, Mike, I was wondering how the lease renewal works in Ontario. Are you required to renew your tenant's lease, or can you just choose not to? Say you inherited a bad tenant. When a lease expires, right? So when a lease expires here in Ontario, a tenant automatically becomes month to month. So what that means is so effectively to answer your question, no, you can't just not renew a lease. To evict a tenant is very, very difficult. The only way you can do something like that is you could on the side make the tenant sign an N9 or N11, or both ideally. The N11 is mutually you guys agreeing to break the tenancy, and N9 is them giving you notice they're going to break the tenancy. I've seen people do this under the table where after the tenant moves in, say, hey, look, I need you to sign N9 for April 30th, that you have to move out on this day. And then when you have that notice, you can just file that with the tenant board and they have to move out. The tenancy's ended. A landlord can't break the tenancy. They don't have the right to do that unless they go to the landlord tenant board. So even if a lease expires and the tenant becomes month to month, it is very difficult to remove a tenant. Month to month, you still have to give them tons of notice. They have to give you. If a lease expires, the tenant thinks, oh, my lease is expired, I can move out. That on the tenant side as well, they can't just move out. If a tenant tells me like on the 2nd of the month, right? Let's say it's the 5th of October and they're like, hey, Mike, I'm moving out. My lease is done. It expired at the end of last month. I'm done. No, you're a month-to-month tenant, and the obligation is you have to give me 60 days notice from the first of the next month. So they have to give me the 60 days notice, and if they gave me midway through the month, it ends up becoming like 75 days notice by law. And if they leave, I can sue them for the difference in rent until I could place a new tenant in the unit. Now, in this market we're in today, I could place a tenant like that, so it's not a big deal, but it's something I could go after them for. In the same way, I can't just evict the tenant so quickly. You can't. It's tenancy here in Ontario is a very sacred thing. It's very difficult to break that. Once you get someone into your unit, it's difficult to break that bond unless it's a short-term situation or you're sharing common facilities with them. If you're sharing kitchens with them, if you're sharing bathrooms, common areas, that kind of stuff, you can break a tenancy whenever you want because it's not governed by the RTA, Residential Tenancy Act. Short-term rentals like Airbnb are also not governed by the RTA. So what I would propose, if you have someone who wants to stay for 6 months, put it up on Airbnb, send them a private offer for their rent of $600 a month and say, hey, here you go. The nice thing is you can cancel their reservation. They have no legal rights. The RTA does not protect them. So I'm a big fan of Airbnb and short-term rentals for that reason. I will sign leases that are 4 or 5 months long, and then we'll sign another lease later. Because we'll break the tenancy for a bit and then set up a new tenancy. Because if they establish a long-term tenancy, call it a year, they now have basically legal right on that place. And there are ways to get rid of tenants. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of strategies to get rid of bad tenants and degenerates, but it's difficult and it's not for the faint of heart. And you have to know the RTA really well. And I'm not saying that I know the RTA as well as a paralegal or a lawyer, but I'm getting better. I'm becoming more and more versed in what the rules and the laws are. Like for instance, if an owner wants to move into a property, if you move into a property, kick a tenant out, you can do that. You can pay them a lot. You have to pay them 1 month's rent. That's the rule. Even if you're moving into your own property to live in, you have to pay them 1 month's rent. That's the ruling. And you get that. You get them 90 days notice. Then you can move in, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You move in. If you move in, fix it up 6 months later, and then decide to rent your property out on Airbnb or rent it out in general, you will get sued. You'll be fined big time. You cannot move into a property. Once you move into a property, you have to wait 1 full year, 1 full 12-month period before you can rent the unit out again, or else you're breaking the law. Because people are just moving into units, kicking tenants out, and fixing them up, renting them out, move on to the next one. So they've closed up the loopholes. It's getting very hard for landlords to have any rights at all, which is why housing is not affordable. Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that, guys. I'm going to stop right now. Okay, hope that answers your question, Tommy. Rick Lumen, you think we could work out my deal? Yeah, Rick, I think we could. I think you could provide some detail for everyone. Drop in a big explanation for everyone so they can understand where you're coming from. And Rick will workshop it. We'll talk about it. Shoot in some questions and we'll do it live. We talked the other night about doing that, and now we're here live on the stream. Let's do it. Why not? Okay. Can we do the live deal analysis? Yes. Was one of the properties you locked in the one on Spring Bank Drive that went quickly? No, Tommy, that wasn't me. You're talking about that $99,000 property, the piece of junk? No, that wasn't me. I don't have the appetite for that one. Is anyone else experiencing a lower level of volume than usual? If this is it, let's try this. Better? Is that too loud, guys, or is that helping? Just let me know. I'm here to provide the best quality audio and visual. I just turned up the preamp over there, goes into a volume mixer, which then goes into the camera. So I just turned that up. Hopefully that didn't get it too loud or crackly. Can someone tell me if that was too much? Let me adjust it. Is that better? Is that better, guys? Is that too much? Okay. Hopefully that volume fixed things. Talking a little bit louder too to help things. I guess we're like a half hour in now, but for those people who are watching the replay, let me know if you enjoyed that rant that just went on. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out that little notification bell, and click that too. The notification is really, really important to ensure that you get notified when I drop new videos and new content. So that's really important. I would like, if I made videos and spent hours doing that people would watch them. Okay. Hopefully that fixed it. Sounds golden. Sounds a lot better. Thanks. Perfect. Okay. Sorry about that. Kyle had turned it down a little bit, thinking it was topping out. So I just adjusted it back to last week's volume. So hopefully that was fixed. How's the hair, guys? You guys like this new haircut I got? It's kind of weird. It's like I got to comb it over to the side or it looks kind of like greasy. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate your thoughts, and we'll check out the video on that topic. All right. Cool, Jake. Okay. Says, Mike, thoughts on a 30-year versus 25-year amortization period? Wondering if it's worth 30 years for the extra cash flow. I'm a big fan of the 35-year mortgage. It's now become a 30-year mortgage, and they're talking about turning it down to a 25-year mortgage. A lot of my mortgages are the 30-year fixed period. You guys know, if you checked out my video about why you shouldn't pay down your mortgage, check that video out, guys. It's over 1,000 views. You scroll back about a month or two ago. You should not pay down your mortgage. There's no incentive to pay down your mortgage. The more equity you build in your property and you don't refinance out, the worse your return on investment. Look at the equation for return on investment. Basically, it's your return divided by the amount that you've actually effectively put into the property, the amount of capital you have in the property. So the more that capital base grows, the worse your ROI is going to get. So if you buy a property in cash, your ROI would be like 9 or 10%. If you buy that 20% down, your ROI should be about 80 or 90%, right? So you just juice your ROI way up when your properties, are levered properly. So do not pay down your mortgage. The nice thing about the 30-year or 35-year amortization period is it takes you longer to pay down your mortgage. Those mortgage payments you have, more of the mortgage payment is interest and less of it is principal, which is what you want. You do not want to pay down your mortgage. If you pay down your mortgage, right, you get that mortgage pay down. What you want to do is recapture that equity and bring it on to the next deal. Pull it out and make it work for you. Because if you're just paying on your mortgage, your effective rate of return is your mortgage interest rate. So if your mortgage is at 2.9% and you're aggressively paying down your mortgage, you're basically earning yourself a 2.9% rate of return, and you're dragging your average ROI on the property way down by that 2.9%, right? So you're dragging your ROI way, way down. You don't want to do that. As soon as I build a lot of equity in a property, I go get an appraisal, I refinance it, I pull the capital out. I know I can go invest in bonds at 6%. I can go invest in public equities. I can go hard money lend at 10%. That's like triple the return of paying down a mortgage. So do not pay on your mortgage unless you have to. Unfortunately, the amortization schedules are such that they're set to pay back the mortgage. It's really good for those people who don't know how to save, who don't have the diligence to force the savings. So if they pulled out the financing, they pulled the capital out, they just blow it. If you're a diligent fire follower and you're good with your money, you should pull out money out of your mortgage. You should reinvest it somewhere at a higher rate of return than the 2.9% you're saving. Now, there's an argument to be said about your personal primary residence because you can't write mortgage interest off on your personal residence. So whereas if you're paying down a rental property, right, you're actually losing a tax deduction. So it's really bad. But on your personal residence, you could theoretically, it's after tax 2.9%. Okay, after tax 2.9%, okay, that's got a little bit of an advantage. Maybe it's like equivalent to like a 4% rate of return. So you could argue paying down your primary residence where you live after tax can make a little bit of sense. I still think you can do better than a 4% rate of return unless you're like 90 years old and you have a super low risk profile. That might be a reason you want to pay down your mortgage. But if you're young like we are, you're under 70 or under 65, and you have a bit of a risk tolerance and you're a little bit educated about how to put capital to work. If you aren't, then you should watch my videos and you'll learn about how you can put capital to work. And I want to do a video on the triple-digit ROI formula that I've designed. So all of my properties to date have had a triple-digit rate of return. That's ideal. You want to have the triple-digit ROI formula going, working to your advantage. That's how you unlock FIRE even faster. Now, anyone can retire in 5 to 10 years, investing in public equities and just saving and being very frugal and working hard. But you can retire in like 3 years or 2 years if you use real estate. And I mean, when I say retire, guys, like I've had some people come at me and say, "Oh, Mike, like Canada's youngest retiree, blah, blah, blah stuff. We hate you. Like everyone's retired, no big deal." I know lots of people who are retired. Well, no, like the definition of retired, financially independent, retired early, it's all about your spending, right? So if you're spending, if you know guys who are spending 100 grand a year, even if they have $1 million, they are not retired. If you have $1 million and you're spending 90 grand a year, your burn rate is 90 grand a year, $1 million, okay, the definition of being retired is 25 times your annual expenses, 300 times your monthly expenses. And that's on the least conservative end. I would say the 3% rule is even better than the 4% rule. The 4% rule says basically you have 25 times your annual expenditures, everything, vacations, like for your desired lifestyle. So for me, because I'm so frugal and so good with my money, I live like $25,000 a year. So I can be firing a lot less, right? I was 2% safe withdrawal rate when I was 24 years old, which means if I sold everything, all my real estate off, and I just invested it in public equities and withdrew 3% a year from that portfolio, just the interest, never the principal, I would never need to work another day in my life. That is what I mean when I say retired. So anyway, I had someone arguing with me a little while ago about some of that stuff, and so I want to clarify now. A couple of people have brought it up to me. What does retired mean? There are a lot of people who are millionaires, but yeah, those people also have high spend rates. So the reason they're not retired is because they spend too much. They're not thrifty. So to be FIRE, you have to, like, if you have a high spending level, you have to have a lot of wealth. Like, if you're spending a couple $100,000 a year to support your lifestyle, you need several $1 million to effectively be financially independent, retired early. So anyway, there are probably other people out there who have unlocked FIRE, and they're just not in the public media. I'm probably in the top 0.1%, I think, but I'm not alone. There are other people like me out there. I'm the youngest who's done this, who's studied FIRE, who's studied like Mr. My Mustache and Early Retirement, Extreme, and all those bloggers. I was just the first to study that at 17 and then unlocked that by 24. Now I'm 25. Going to be 26 pretty soon. So anyway, I'm going to like just rant on that for a minute just because I can. I'm in a mood today, I guess, guys. I'm in a mood. Okay, let's go down here and get some more questions going. Then we'll go over here and we'll just workshop a real deal, and Rick will post hopefully his specific stuff, and then we'll do it. Okay. Scrolling down, reading. Can you go into methods for getting rid of tenants apart from cash for keys? That was great. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Tommy, great question. What are some ways and methods for getting rid of tenants? So there are ethical options and less ethical options. You can do things, people have hypothetically done things where they've moved other tenants in a duplex in the unit above them that were just like partying and smashing drums, and you can kind of smoke the tenant out through that sort of behavior. I've heard stories of landlords who cut off utilities. You can't legally do that. I've heard landlords who just didn't repair the property at all. They just neglected it. You're not supposed to do that either. They can take you to landlord tenant board for that. But that's one way you can basically just don't do anything nice for the tenant, because then they'll want to leave. So that's one strategy I've heard, which is like the neglect model. So the neglect model, it does work. Tenants get really pissed off eventually. The one that works the best is putting in a tenant that you know won't go along well. So if you have like a really racist, like we almost had a really racist tenant in one unit, and you imagine I placed someone in the other unit beside them that was that race they didn't like. And they were a great tenant, by the way. We renovated the unit, made it nice. Our idea was to get rid of that guy who was the racist. He had many other problems too, hoarding and everything else. But that got them out, right? Because we kept siding with, and not on purpose, but like because honestly the other person whom the race they didn't like was actually right. That's one way too, is just piss the tenant off. In other cases, like for instance, if you have a tenant with a pet and you know that they love the backyard, I might just plow the backyard and put in parking. Now that's going to keep the city happy too, because the city wants a certain number of parking spots per unit. So I might go to the city and I might say, hey, I want to expand my parking. I know you guys want that from a rental license perspective. We don't have 3 parking spots. What do you think? And they would say yes. Like the rental license department might even force me to put in a parking spot for each unit of said 4-plex. And so then there would be like 4 parking spots I need to create, and they would give me an order and force me to do that. So I would go then and I say, hey, the city's forcing my hand. I have to put in a parking lot. They put in a parking lot in the back. And in doing that, I've now destroyed the fence. So there's no fence in the backyard. And the tenant doesn't like that. They have a pet. Boom, they're gone. That's a great way to get rid of tenants with pets. There are a lot of strategies. They're less ethical and more dubious. Dubious because today is the day that weed is legal in Canada. So I had to make a little joke there. Couldn't help myself. Anyway, not going to affect my life all that much. We could talk about how that affects landlords. We could have a little discussion about that. My thoughts are, I'm not too worried about it for a number of reasons. But what were we talking about? We were just talking about other techniques to get rid of tenants. So one is, what else? There are keys for cash. So you could bribe a tenant to leave. One trick I like to do is give them back their last month's rent plus some moving expenses, and that's like they see this large amount of $1,000 and they haven't seen that kind of cash ever in their life, especially the bad tenants that you want to get rid of. That's a great way to do things too. You can I put policies in, like a lot of tenants like to smoke in units, and now there's smoke-free Ontario. So I put up signs like you can't smoke in the common areas, you can't smoke here, 15 feet from the building, and I'll give them fines and stuff. So that'll really piss off a tenant who likes to smoke in the units. That gets those guys out. There are strategies you can use. Now let's talk about the legal, like the other like more formal strategies you could use at the landlord tenant board using the RTA, the Residential Tenancy Act. RTA is the Residential Tenancy Act. And talk about the landlord tenant board, LTB. So you could serve a tenant if they're annoying other tenants, like a bad tenant. You could serve them an N5, right? You can repeatedly serve them an N5. If they don't correct their behavior, you can evict them. They get multiple chances to correct their behavior, but most of these bad tenants that are harassing other tenants or harassing neighbors, if you N5 them, or they're hoarders and their unit's full of garbage, you can N5 them. There are other forms like N7, There are other forms like N4. If they don't pay rent, you can evict them. On the N7, if a tenant repeatedly pays rent late. So we had a tenant that paid rent on the 4th every single month. They just always be late. I'm like, pay your rent on time. I'm going to serve you a notice for repeated late payment of rent. You can evict a tenant if they've repeatedly not paid rent again and again and again for like a year, like 6 months. You can serve them, and if they don't correct their behavior, you can evict them. A tenant has to pay their rent on time. There's like this myth that like a tenant thinks, oh, there's no late fees on rent, which is true. There are no late fees. You can't charge late fees on rent. You can put prompt payment discounts built into your rent, into your lawful rent, but you can't charge late fees. And because these old leases are wrote usually by bad landlords and bad property managers, you're usually stuck with not being able to charge late fees on late rent. So these tenants that pay late all the time, you can evict them. That's lawful. That's right. You can go through the processes with a paralegal, or you can just represent yourself and get rid of these tenants. We have successfully evicted a tenant for not paying rent consistently. So there are lawful legal ways to evict tenants. Harassing other tenants is another one. Damaging the unit. Not only can you get the tenant in trouble for damaging the unit, you can actually bring the police there. Because property damage is a criminal offense. You can throw them in jail if they damage your property enough. So these tenants think that they can just do whatever they want in this new world, because the RTA and the Landlord Tenant Board is this big shield. They can do whatever they want and push the landlord around. If you know the rules and you're consistent about documenting, that's very, very important. You need pictures. You need to document things. 2 copies. You need to serve them notice and pictures every time you serve them notice. And you bring that file to the tribunal and say, look, I've documented these 4 times this happened. I've served them notice. If you do a really good job of documenting this, and unfortunately the onus is on the landlord. Everything has to be documented on the landlord. If both don't document things, the tenant always wins. So the landlord has a bit of a burden, unfortunately. The burden of proof is kind of on the landlord. I'm not saying that's fair. I'm not saying that's right. The adjudicators are, I think, a little bit unfair sometimes. But if you are very good at documenting, the landlord has a lot of legal ways to evict a tenant. And so I've just gotten really good at doing this because I've done it so many times. And that's why people invest with me. They trust me to take them from A to Z because I've just done this so many times. And so I hope that answers your question. There's probably a lot more ways I'm just not thinking of right now to get rid of tenants. But, I mean, there are ways to get rid of tenants that are bad. There is a ton of value in doing that. If you get rid of a tenant that's paying $500 a month for a 1-bedroom when the market rent is $950, if you can get that tenant out for whatever you have to do to get that tenant out, the minute that tenant's out, you put a new tenant in, the market value of the property just jumped $20,000. You can get tens of thousands in value just by putting in better tenants. That's a value add strategy right there. Just buy a triplex, 3 bad tenants, get all 3 bad tenants out, put new tenants in, get market rents, sell the property, boom, there's $100,000 in your pocket. That's a model we do all the time. It's not easy. No one wants to deal with that. Like, it's a lot of work to do that model, but you can do it. I do it all the time. If you solve problems in real estate, you will be usually rewarded handsomely if you bought smart. So that's what real estate's all about, is identifying problems that are costing value on that property, like they're costing it value on resale, and then solving those problems, and then basically those are gone and the value's allowed to elevate to market. Cool. Okay. Going to methods, we did that one. Breakdown a live deal. Okay, it's coming, guys. Sounds better, sounds gold. Interest rates have risen 5%. Thomas, I don't know about you, but I'm still getting, like, I'm locking up mortgages at 3% all day long here in Canada. 5-year fixed, 3% is no problem. So if you're paying those kinds of rates, you just need to learn to shop around. In Canada, there's a great website called ratespy.com. There's also RateHub. I don't like RateHub as much because they advertise rates that of the people that pay the best fees to be advertised, whereas RateSpy tends to be spying on like big banks and spying on people who don't necessarily pay them and who don't want their rates published. Okay, 5% interest, I guess. Yeah, I mean, at 5% or 6%, it might make sense to pay on your mortgage if it was your primary residence, because that's a decent rate of return that's risk-free and after tax. So I can see the argument being made. In the low interest rate environment we were in, maybe not. Typically, though, when you're borrowing from real estate, you can get a cheaper cost of debt than that same capital could be invested in the equity markets and make typically double. So typically, when interest rates are 6 or 7%, you should be able to get 10 or 12% in the S&P 500. Typically, not always, but over the long term, if you average it out, that's what you should see. The data suggests. Michael Chung, aside from reading PI statements and balance sheets, how do you determine if a stock is undervalued? Okay, this is more than a whole video I could talk about. There are different strategies you can use to value stocks. Some people are technical traders, right? They trade on there's trend traders. People trade on historical information. Some people trade on value. I'm a big believer in the value investing model, the Ben Graham, Warren Buffett style of value investing, where you look at the EPV, the earnings power value, got that right, and you compare that to the NAV, the net asset value, and you look for basically opportunities where companies are trading basically below book value, where there's some significant upside when you do the EPV, the earnings power value, so what their earnings can be, what they are, and then what their net asset value is. And if there's that discrepancy there, then not only do you have to have undervalue, but there also has to be a catalyst there. So what would be a catalyst to unlock this value? A catalyst being something where there's an event that happens that allows you to effectively unlock said value. So for instance, if there was something trading way below book value, something has to happen for that to be realized. Maybe that catalyst could just be better marketing. Like no one knows about it. And if they just hired a good PR firm and let everyone know about the company, then it would solve all the problems. It varies. It tends to vary. So there's value investing model. There is the growth stock investing model. So where you invest in future growth. I'm not a big fan of investing in future growth because who knows what the future holds. But people investing in tech stocks, they'll buy in companies that have no earnings now and no assets now, but a great idea. And they just believe in future growth will happen. And so they believe in management to execute on said idea. I don't like to trust other people. Maybe it's because the way I grew up or something that I just can't trust people. But I honestly just think that, anyway, we're talking about trust issues. But at the end of the day, if you believe strongly in management to perform, then maybe you'll unlock that value with growth stocks. There are a lot of different ways you can invest in stocks. A lot of different strategies you can use to invest in equities. I am a big proponent of you can't beat the market, so join it. Statistically speaking, 99% of active fund managers do not outperform the market. I'm talking Wall Street, Bay Street, like big hedge fund guys. Most of them don't outperform the index that they're benchmarked to. S&P 500, for instance. Most of them don't outperform that. So if guys with PhDs in finance and degrees from Harvard can't beat the market over a 25-year period consistently, I'm talking, they might have 2 or 3, 5 years where they beat the market, but over the long term, they will be the exact same as the benchmark or less net of fees. So if that's the case, then why do you as an individual investor think that you can beat the market? Because I'm telling you, you can't. There's all those guys out there saying, there's new software that's allowing me to find trends in the market and this and that, and like these guys trading are just trading on trends. They don't know anything. They don't know how to analyze a cash flow statement or build a DCF, a discounted cash flow statement. They don't know how to read a balance sheet or how to run ratios. If you don't know how to do that stuff, you don't have an accounting background, or a finance background, you should not be buying individual stocks. I hate to say that, it's true. The solution is, guys, buy ETFs, exchange traded funds. That is the solution. ETFs, basically buying an ETF. ETF owns hundreds of different pieces of 100 different companies. So effectively, you buy into 20 different ETFs. They each own 100 different companies, right? You're buying basically a small piece of everything. If you invest in a small piece of everything, what ends up happening is you get market returns. You're diversified. So if Lehman Brothers goes down, you don't care. That was one stock and thousands that you own. ETFs, exchange traded funds, have super low MERs. They're like mutual funds with really low management expense ratios. So I love them because they're cheap and they tend to perform at market. And that's exactly what you want. You want that 7 to 9% rate of return over the long period of time. Your money's going to double every 6, 7 years. You're not going to have a lot of risk. As long as you can hold for long term, your portfolio will grow, will double, triple, quadruple over a 20-year period. I want to do a video, guys. I'm going to do one soon. I ran the numbers. If you were to save, starting in high school, $100 a week, $100 a week, and invest it and get some decent returns, what you'd find is by the time you were 75, you'd have $100 million. Just start, get the money compounding, get it investing. Follow the similar returns that I've been able to get over a long period of time. You become very, very wealthy. Because I started young, now I was saving more than $100 a week. I was saving, when I was 21 years old, I was saving $1,500 a week every single week and investing in real estate. And people say, oh, Mike, you just got great returns. I was still saving $1,500 each and every week, right? My real estate portfolio plus my salary, we were saving everything. My girlfriend at the time, now wife, everything. We were living on nothing. We were rent hacking and then we were house hacking. So our living costs were zero. And you're just saving, right? And you architect this situation where you can support yourself without, I just supported myself without my parents, just independent at 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. and just saving aggressively, you can become wealthy. Anyone can become wealthy. And the key determinant is spending less, earning more, maximizing returns. I wanted to say something else, but I thought, that slogan I talk about at the end of every video, that's it. That's the key to building wealth. Anyway, let's keep going, guys. Hope that helped your question there. Ellie, good to see you on. I see you got a question here. What are your top stock picks? I'm gonna stop giving stock picks because I don't want to get sued, and one of my stock picks some of my stock picks don't do well. You know what? If I give you guys a good stock pick, you're like, oh cool, Mike gave me a cool stock pick. But if I give you a stock pick, so like if I'm right, you're gonna be like, oh cool, Mike was right, whatever. But if I'm wrong, right, and you guys lose money, I will feel so bad. So I don't want to give stock. Like there's no fun in picking individual stocks. Buy ETFs. Go look up the Yale Swanson portfolio. Look at the Canadian Couch Potato ETF portfolio. Just buy into the market. It's the safest thing you can do. Perform at market. Don't try to beat the market. So why pick individual stocks? You're not going to beat the market. You aren't smarter than Warren Buffett. I can promise you that. Everyone watching here, I'm not smart, but I'm definitely not smarter than Warren Buffett. Not when it comes to investing in stocks. Maybe in real estate, maybe. But when it comes to that, no. Cool. Shantasia, I don't know what your question was. It was retracted. Okay, the problem with my area is that it's difficult to get cash flowing property. So essentially, I'm forced into being a Susie speculator. I love the lingo. I love it. Look, yes, I love it. Still worthwhile to pull equity out. Yes, I think it's still worth pulling equity out. You can invest in a different market. You can invest in like a market where the cash flow made more sense, in a smaller market. If you're not cash flowing, right, your property's not performing well, the question I've asked is, why do you own it? You could always rebalance your portfolio, sell it, and buy something else. If you didn't want to pay the tax burden of selling it, you could refinance it and pull all the capital out tax free. You don't trigger any capital gains until you sell the property. So you could theoretically pull out, almost all of the equity and go invest it elsewhere. Maybe you could go borrow, like you can get a HELOC or even just a mortgage on the property, pull out almost all the equity if you're in Vancouver, Toronto, New York, California, pull the equity out, right, with a refinance, a new mortgage on there, take that capital, you just borrow it at 3% or 3.5% or 4% or whatever it is on that mortgage, and then go invest it at 8 or 9% and keep the difference. Or you can invest in real estate in a small town like London, like where I am. I say small town, 500,000 people, that's small. Somewhere like London here, where your rate of return buying a property is 25% cash on cash. Like that's the minimum for me. That's before we have a good appreciation market. I like 25% cash on cash. That's ideal with mortgage paid on. So your cash without any appreciation should be getting 25% rate of return if levered properly. Now that's with appreciation and forced equity appreciation, all the things, the strategies we do to unlock extra value, like getting tenants out, all that stuff will add more value on top of that. So 25% is the minimum rate of return. If you can go borrow at 3% and make 25, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I'll refinance the property. But it's up to your risk profile, your risk tolerance levels. That's a question for you. I can't tell you the answer. So here we go. Okay. So Rick says, and Rick, we were talking off camera a couple nights ago at an event, a real estate event. So I developed 4 rentals that are geared to seniors. So Rick he actually looks like bought land and built 4 senior properties. These are like bungalow layouts. If you have a garage, and each one of them is a separate unit. Market rent around $1,900 per unit, right? And so you built them for $1,600 in near a market where I am here in London, similar area. So senior housing, by the way, guys, I'm a big fan of senior housing. I think it's if you look at the demographics here in Canada, we have a huge baby boomer population that's aging, and they need somewhere to live, all on one floor. They need luxury, and I think the luxury senior rental is one that's overlooked because there's a lot of rooming houses and stuff for older people, but I'm talking luxury quality stuff for the golden age for these guys that are getting up there who have a lot of capital because they're very wealthy. They work their whole lives, these baby boomers, and they had a very good work hard, save hard attitude. And so they built up sizable amounts of cash. A senior isn't going to fight you at the landlord-tenant board because they didn't pay rent. They're going to pay their rent on time. You can guarantee that. So I don't know. There's some distinct advantages for targeting the senior market, and not a lot of people are targeting that market. So I'm a big fan. Big fan. I used to do some room rentals and stuff like that to seniors, and I had some good experiences with that. So that's what I'll say there. Trying to give the audience a bit more context for this. So your intention was to rent them out forever, receiving passive income. However, Rick says, now I have an offer of $1 million on the property right now to purchase it. So you built it for 600. Now you have an offer for $1 million right now. So you just made 400 grand building this property, which is fantastic.
should I take the hit in the 50% tax bracket, so the highest marginal tax bracket, because you're taking all of that gain in 1 year, right? Or keep the passive gain going. I like to take the money out and build more. Great question, Rick. I'm going to zoom down here. My unit's cash flow, I charge $1,900 a month for rent, utilities included, which are about $430 a month. That seems high. For a new build, it's super efficient. I'd be surprised if the utilities, and considering they're conjoined by one wall, they're semi-detached, I would think that your utility costs would be much, much lower with a high efficiency furnace in there and proper R50 attic insulation and good walls. I'd be surprised if utilities were more than $250, $300 with LED light bulbs in there and all that nice stuff and efficient appliances in there. I'd be surprised if a semi had more than $300 a month in utilities. So that seems a little high. Maybe you're budgeting a little extra. That's good. There should be some considerable. Yeah, there are some. Yeah, that's right. Dragging me sports. We'll get to that in a second there. So Rick, we're gonna workshop your idea here. Don't have a dry erase marker in this room. Of course, I thought I brought one to the live stream, but I did not. So we're gonna workshop this without a whiteboard. But we'll do it. So you built it for around 600, and if I understand right, you've got financing on the property from, a source where the cost is very low, but you want to obviously pay that capital back, and you'd like to give them a nice little return for believing in you. So let's talk about the pros and cons. So you sell it for $1 million, you'd have basically a $400,000 gain. You get $400,000 depending on when you sold it. So if you get, this is dirty. So if you were gonna sell it, and you were going to sell it for January, closing date in January, right? Sign a deal now, ink it, and close it in January. You would theoretically not have to pay the tax on that property until April 30th of 2020. So you'd have a year and 4 months to play with that money before you pay the tax bill. But you'd eventually have to pay a tax bill of $200,000. So there is a disadvantage with obviously selling it because you have to pay a lot of tax, capital gains tax. Now, no, you built the house yourself, so it'd be active business income. It's not like you held the property and appreciated. It's you built the property, so it'd be active business income at the full marginal tax bracket. I wish it was capital gains. I wish I could say it was a capital gain, because then you only pay $100,000 in tax. So you pay a quarter tax, half of a half. But in this case, it's full active business income, unfortunately. So, okay, make sure you didn't throw anything else in there. Other things for them. I'm missing some questions here. Did I miss any other comments here on yours, Rick? Okay, I'm just going to talk for a minute now. So let's workshop this out loud. So your question is basically, what do I do? Rick, I think no matter what, like, congratulations, because this is fantastic. You've done well. No matter what, you're making money, and you can't cry about paying tax because you've made so much money. Now, I understand you want to think of what's the best thing to do here. In your situation, you have to pay back, your family there for that capital. So you want to do that, obviously. Right now, it's interest free, so your expenses are just the utilities and property taxes. So you're cash flowing very well, right? You're getting almost $8,000 a month from these 4 semis attached, right? So that's huge. That's awesome. And I couldn't be prouder of you. I'd like to see you do more developments. Maybe we'll work together, do something together in the local market. Who knows? But okay, so we're looking at, you got $200,000 in basically capital, or you could defer paying tax forever by not triggering a sale, and you could just refinance it. Let's say you could take that offer for $1 million, go get an appraiser in there and get the property appraised at $1 million. If said thing was done, you'd be able to then pull out 80% loan to value. If you get, the family member who lent you that capital, they'd probably co-sign, I think, a mortgage to make sure you could do that. It also cash flows fairly well, so I think a bank would have no problem seeing the property self-sustaining at almost $7,600 a month in rent. Should be able to cover the mortgage, no problem, with tons of cash flow left over. So if we were to run the analysis on that and the numbers, I bet you. Let's log in here for a sec. What is this nice little bird picture? I love that it comes up with its own kind of picture each time I sign in. It's a new one. So in said deal, $600,000 down. We'll say it's 100% down, just for easy math. You have a revenue of 7,600 times 12, 91,000 in revenue. I don't know what your property taxes are on the property. I'm just guessing they're probably higher than this. I don't know what the taxes are in that area. You have to let me know. But at a high level, you're looking at, with no mortgage on it, like $5,700 a month in profit each and every month. That's just high level. I haven't obviously adjusted it for your. Oh, that's assuming utilities pay by the tenant. So we'll add in 400 times 4 units times 12. Do that right now. Okay, so you have $4,000 a month, a little over $4,100 a month in income coming in. So with a mortgage on that, that would again suck up most of the cash flow. Probably. Let's do it with a mortgage on it. Let's toss a mortgage on there. We'll call it $1 million, and got our interest rate in there. Yeah, there's almost no cash flow. I think what the property taxes are. I don't know if they're 10,000. Are they 10,000 a year? Property taxes? I don't know. You have to tell me. Just trying to forecast it there and see. You're looking like you're getting almost no cash flow once a mortgage is thrown on there. So this property doesn't seem to cash flow that well. It might make sense to rebalance. Depending on the mortgage rate you can get on the property, depending on, so I just did some quick numbers there, but it looks like the property is going to cash flow $1,900 a month per unit. Now that might be because, yeah, at $1 million, you're getting $800,000 mortgage. So if you put a mortgage on it, you pull out 80% loan to value, you pull out about $800,000. So you could pay back your parents or your family members, whoever lent you the money, pay them back to $600, right? And then you've got $200,000 left over for yourself, the same as what you'd have if you sold it. And you've got some cash flow coming in, and you've got that extra income coming in, which is great to bring to a bank to finance your next project. You can say, hey, look, I still own it. Look at the cash flow. It's going great. Unfortunately, at $1 million, the rents just don't make sense. Like $1 million valuation, you should expect $10,000 or $11,000 a month in top line rent, right? Now, ideally, if this was 1,900 plus utilities, that would change everything, right? If you get 1,800 plus utilities, that would change the whole market. Let me see if I didn't screw some up. It's a brand new house, so the maintenance expense is a little high. Let me adjust that down a bit. Did I fix that? Yeah. So you're at like $500, $600 a month. Looks like cash flow so far, unless I've screwed something up. Oh, I guess there is the benefit of mortgage pay down. So if you look at the recapture percentage of what is paid down on the mortgage. So you have your payment and part of its principal, part of its interest. So if you look at that data as well, what we are seeing is mortgage pay down of roughly $1,500 a month on that $1 million property that you've kept. So your cash flow positive $430 a month ish, based on the numbers I just ran there. Because it's a new build, I assume the maintenance is a bit less than if it was an older property because you just built it yourself. I'm sure you believe in the quality of your own build. If you don't, you should sell it. So if you're to keep it, let's just think this out loud. You're getting $400 a month in your pocket, plus you're paying on mortgage $1,500 a month. So you're almost a couple grand a month positive each and every month. I wouldn't go out and buy this property. Like for $1 million, I don't want to buy this property. The numbers just don't make sense. The cap rate is like 6. So my thoughts would be you should sell it because the cap rate makes no sense. Rebalance your portfolio and buy something else or build something else. It's a tricky one because you're going to pay tax if you sell. If we were in the U.S., you could do a 1031 exchange and roll it on to the next project, right? I think that's kind of how it works. Canada, we just don't have that. Maybe there was a way you could joint venture with the said person who wants to buy it or work something out with them where you sell it to them at cost. Imagine this, where you sold it to them at cost and they paid you out as a consultant over a number of years, or you put it in a company at cost and then you were to sell it. Ooh, you could sell the shares maybe and then trigger a capital gain. That would be nice. You know what you could do? Just thinking out loud. We're still workshopping this out loud right now, right, guys? Said property you built for $600,000. Go get an appraiser in there and tell them, hey, I got $600,000 in this property. Do you think it's about $600,000? Get an appraiser because appraisers love to lowball evaluations. Get an appraisal on it for $600,000. Keep it for a year, then sell it for $1 million. And you say, look, that was a capital gain. My business income was me building it. I got an appraisal at 680, 700, let's say. So my active business income at 50% marginal tax bracket was that amount from the appraisal to, and then the capital gain would be the appreciation on it, which would be anything from the appraisal that you got on it once it was done being built to then when you sold it. So if you could end up selling it for $1 million, then that $300,000 difference would be then at 25% tax rate. So that could work. Get an appraisal and then say the difference between what it was appraised at when it was done being built now to what it was when I sold it in 6 months later, that $300,000 gain. So it's all about if you can get an appraisal. That's the game you could play. That's just an idea I just kind of thought of top of my head. Because whatever it's appraised for now would be, to the CRA, that'd be market value, and then whatever you sell it for in the future would, if it sells for more, then that would be because obviously it appreciated, and so appreciation is a capital gain, which is good. Quarter tax, half of a half. So yeah, Rick, we could definitely do that. They cash flow very well. I just didn't give you super accurate numbers. Okay, Rick, cool. So I don't know whether we've got the numbers kind of down here. We look like, around $2,000 a month. The problem is the mortgage payment on a property like that is on $1 million. If you pull a proper mortgage, 80% loan to value, is the mortgage payment is $3,500 a month, rough. $4,000 a month, rough. Depending if you get commercial financing, because it's 4 units together. I don't know what the title looks like. If it's 4 individual mortgages or one big mortgage, then it might be like just a fourplex. You might be okay, get res financing. Depending on the financing you get, bad financing on that property could kill the cash flow. That's why I partner with guys, and I don't just buy properties myself. It's because my investors, all of them can get good mortgages at cheap interest rates. So they bring a lot of value to the table, and then we get cheap debt. Because expensive debt is 6, 7, 8%. You see those guys, I meet a lot of them who are buying properties 8, 9, 10%. It's hard for them to cash flow because they're paying such high interest rates. So that's something to kind of think about too. When your mortgage is $3,500, $400,000 a month, that's half your rent just to your mortgage. Then you get property taxes, utilities, a little bit of maintenance, insurance, whatever else. If there's city fees in your local area, whatever else. So all those things eat into your cash flow. So you only have maybe $500, $600, $700, $800, $1,000 left over for yourself each month, plus mortgage pay down, which it's something. You don't have access to it unless you refinance again. I think that might be the cool strategy though, is to maybe the compromise, the blend strategy, where you get it appraised right now and don't try it all for a good appraisal. Like just bring someone in, get it appraised, that's it. Then when you go to sell it, you try to get the most you possibly can, and then juice out the most you can between the appraised value when it was built, when it was active business income, and today. So there you go. So Rick, you could sever it with the municipality, sell for individually. Very, very cool. I'm wondering, like I drive through forests quite often, so I'm wondering if it's the one. I'm thinking of a couple that are there. I'm wondering if it's those ones. It'd be cool to stop in next time I go. I drive through forest every time I go to my in-laws' place, so it'd be cool to catch that up. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, I'm gonna go up. Where were we here? Hey Max, how you doing? Shout out. Cool, you're catching on the live stream. Very nice, very nice. Thomas, Rate Hub, more like porn. Yeah, Rate Hub sucks. They're like a credit card. Their credit card stuff's not bad, but their mortgage rates are RateSpy is way better. Okay, let's go up and we workshop that problem. Hopefully you got kind of a solution. I think the best way from a tax perspective, if you're just thinking about taxes, and even just in general, would be to hold on to it, get an appraisal ASAP, and hopefully it's the worst. Get a couple appraisals. Hopefully the worst one. Like go to a bad appraisal company, get an appraisal on it. That will give you market value for the active business income, and then anything you sell it for above that is then treated as capital gains, which is way better from a tax perspective than active business income. It does cash flow well, so you could theoretically just refinance it, pay the parents back, and keep the property, having $1,900 a month in your pocket each and every month, and go on to the next build project, right, with $200,000 in your pocket. That's probably the way I would go to not trigger a capital gain. I'd probably get an appraisal on it ASAP, refinance it, and pull some capital out, pay back the parents. But you could sell it too and get that cash. It's not a great property to hold on to. Like I wouldn't. The question, would I buy it right now? No, I wouldn't buy it. The numbers just don't make sense. $7,600 a month on $1 million valuation is like a 7.6 gross cap rate. You pay all the utilities too, so the net cap rate is probably like 5.9. A 5.9 cap is not good. Like I like for 8 or 10 ideally. So I would say you're better off rebalancing. So rebalance your portfolio, sell it, and buy something better. But you have to do that in a tax efficient manner. So you can rebalance with a really great refi strategy too. So we can talk about those options. We should meet up, do lunch or something, and chat about that. Shantasia, correction, what are your thoughts on cryptocurrency? Yeah, you want me to do a video on cryptocurrency? I can. I did an article on it. Go to my blog, 25 and Free, at 25andfree.com, and see what my thoughts are on cryptocurrency. I wrote an article on Bitcoin when it was trading a little over $20,000 unit price, and it's now, I don't follow it because I don't care that much about crypto. But so the technology behind cryptocurrency, right? Not Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency in general is groundbreaking. Like blockchain technology, if you read into it, is fantastic. I know someone has a PhD in blockchain. We were chatting about some of the specific applications and how it's going to change the way we do a lot of things, a lot of business in general, right? The whole currency market, the whole fiat currency market, I think is going to be evolving and changing, not going away, but evolving and changing because of some of the technology there. And I think that technology can be utilized by a lot of different companies to do a lot of really cool things. So if I can invest just in the Bitcoin, not in Bitcoin, sorry, just in the blockchain technology, I'd be down to do that. I don't want to invest in any specific company that makes cryptocurrencies because I don't know where they're going to be in a few years. And so you can read out my article, what I thought about that. At that time, I forecasted 20,000 Bitcoin price down to, I thought around 5,000 or less. Its value is whatever the holder thinks it is. And it's not physical, it's not real. If someone else makes a better cryptocurrency, that cryptocurrency is worth nothing, right? It's just as good as the technology that's in it. So I'm not a huge fan of cryptocurrencies. I'm not a speculative investor. The problem with owning cryptocurrencies, gold and silver included, sorry, not cryptocurrencies, in stores of value, like gold, silver, precious metals, cryptocurrencies, whatever. Like they're all kind of the same. I mean, gold's physical and tangible and has actual practical properties. You can use it in the iPhone. They use bits of gold, right? Like you can use it in manufacturing and it has practical uses. Crypto has no use at all. So it's just a store of value, perceived store of value. Now, I like technology. So that's my first thing I want to say. I like the cryptocurrency technologies. I think they're going to like be bought out by MasterCard and Visa and integrated into these companies and change the way blockchain technology specifically can revolutionize the way we do things from a records keeping perspective. It's going to revolutionize IT departments. I'm a huge fan of that. But I don't think that the cryptocurrency is a great place to dump your money because, right, it doesn't cash flow. It's not a company. It creates no value at all, right? Whereas if you buy into a company, you own a percentage of that asset and you own a percentage of their future cash flows forever. So they have to pay that out to you, or they'll reinvest in the company, and your value goes up in your ownership of that company, right? Their assets increase, or they pay you out dividends, right? There's an actual exit strategy. I buy into a rental property, it cash flows each and every month. Cryptocurrency does not cash flow. It is, I buy it for X amount and I have to dupe someone else into paying more for it than what I bought it for. That is the only out. You have to give it to someone, right? Trade it for something. And so that's why I don't like cryptocurrency. I'm just not you guys think I'm a risk taker. People probably think like Mike's such a risk taker. He invests in real estate, blah, blah, blah. But I see real estate as a very safe, tangible thing that I'm in control of, right? It cash flows. There's opportunity for forced appreciation from day one. There's just, you can arbitrage. I can't arbitrage cryptocurrency. There are guys out there with efficient algorithms that are doing this. All of the efficiency is everything in the public market is perfectly efficient. In the real estate market, there's arbitrage. Like Granny calls me and says, hey, I didn't put any pictures up in my listing. Do you want to buy my house for 100 grand? There is no efficient market. No one else can scoop in on that. It's only me and her talking, right? So there's no efficient market for trading real estate. When that happens, real estate will no longer be this arbitrage opportunity that it is today. Right now, it's just people talking. A listing, before it goes up, I can call someone and talk to them. So maybe a listing goes up, there's bad pictures, it's blurry, right? That detracts from the value. That kind of stuff doesn't happen in the public markets. Things trade close to, they're relatively efficient. They can trade close to what real value is. So it's harder to arbitrage and beat out all those guys who are experts. In real estate, it's very easy to arbitrage. I talk about it in videos about arbitraging strategies. So those are my thoughts on cryptocurrency at a high level. I wrote an article on it, and a lot of what like guys like Mr. My Mustache think, I echo a lot of his thoughts, and so his article was great. Yeah, hopefully that helped. Invest in the market. Don't try to invest in some super high performance one thing that, if you're going to do that, at least buy something that's going to cash flow, like a dividend stock or something that's going to pay you consistent returns. Anyway, hopefully that helped. Thomas says, okay, I read that. You're a legend in my book, The Book of Mike. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate that a lot. That's awesome. Okay, Thomas says, what are the advantages of the Canadian market over California? California versus, so comparing Canada to a state is like, so there's Canada and the US, right? Canada's not like a state. You could say, is Ontario, like, what's the difference between Ontario and California? The problem is Ontario is so vast and different. there are properties in small towns that are selling for $40,000 a house. And then in Toronto, we have properties selling for $1 million a unit. So there's so much, the market is so different in every different place, right? It depends on the exact specific area. Like Toronto in Ontario or Vancouver in the province of British Columbia in Canada is totally different than like Forest, Ontario, or like some small town like Sarnia, or like my own market, London, Ontario, that I live in. So it's very difficult to kind of answer that question. But at a high level, I could say that what I understand of California is that it's similar to Toronto in that prices are getting very, very high. I follow guys like Graham Stephan and Kevin. Like those guys are investing in like Ventura and LA and in California. And from what I understand, talking to those guys, things don't cash flow near as well as they do here. So in my market in London, for instance, things cash flow way better because it's a smaller town. Now Toronto is very comparable. I would say the market in Toronto is very comparable to California. It doesn't cash flow so well, but there's tons of appreciation upside. And the only way to really make a cash flow is to do like to buy the bedroom student thing or Airbnb. Tend to be the only ways to make it really cash flow well. They buy properties in LA and Toronto, Vancouver, and New York, big markets. They buy them for appreciation. They speculate. Now you can add value, you can arbitrage still, but it's very much a speculative play. So I'm not a huge fan of those markets for that reason. I would prefer like a smaller market. If my market gets too big, then I guess if you're in California and you can develop an edge, like these guys, some of these guys have edges where they can add value. They know how to create a wedge or some sort of edge that makes them better in the market than someone else. You can renovate well, you have a good vision. Maybe you find listings that are bad. Whatever edge you can find, if you can find an edge to add value, then it still makes sense to invest in real estate. The nice thing about real estate in California too is that it's better than the public markets because there's information asymmetry. That's how you make money in real estate. There isn't perfect information. One guy has one piece of information, someone else has a different piece of information. In stock market, we can all go read the same information. The statements are audited and they're public. Here in real estate, there's a whole bunch of cowboys, so it's easy to clean up in real estate. So that's why I gravitated towards real estate, because smart guys work really hard in real estate and make a ton of money. Like I could easily become I gotta get $100 million net worth by investing in real estate because I can milk an arbitrage strategy. And for me to become the top 1% of real estate investors is very easy. It's very hard for me to become the top 1% of iBankers on Wall Street. I had opportunity to work as an iBanker after I graduated from Ivy. That would have been a terrible job. I would have hated my life. Glad I didn't go down that route. But for me to be the top, to be a Warren Buffett, is very difficult. To do that in real estate is not as hard, actually. It's more tangible, and I think your downside is very limited when you're buying properties smartly. So that's what I like about real estate, is that the risk is so low, and the risk to return ratio is fantastic. You won't get that in cryptocurrency. You won't get that in any public equity, I don't think. So anyway, hope that helps. Did you read the book The Intelligent Investor by Ben Graham? No, it's on my list to read. It is on my list of books to read. I wish I had more time to do everything. Like people are messaging me on LinkedIn and Facebook and Messenger. I try to get back to everyone. I have long conversations for like 20, 30 minutes with people, subscribers who reach out and ask me questions. And I try to respond, but it's getting to the point where I can't get anything done from the company and stuff just because I'm so busy. Putting out fires and responding to people that haven't had a chance to take any time for me to read. So that'd be great. I'd love to read. America, my bad. No worries, Thomas. Robinhood got caught for selling info. Interesting. I heard Robinhood was like that free trading platform, I think, if I remember right. I could be wrong on that. Is this live? Yes. Robinhood is making millions, sellers, users, data to financial companies. Interesting. What's wrong with that? I mean, as long as it's not super sensitive data, if it was just like my trading patterns or something, I wouldn't, that wouldn't bother me if they're like, 10,000 people have bought this stock. That's not, I don't care with that. As long as it's not specific data, I wouldn't care. To get free trades, worth. Is Mike taking questions? Hulk Hogan. Yes, of course I'm taking questions, always. We're going to do a live analysis though. Nino, I'm going to stop at you and we're going to do one quick live analysis just for fun. Hazel, how you doing? Mr. Beefy, good to see you on. Catch the replay. Hopefully things are coming in nice and HD for you guys. Can you see my face nice and close? Nice and far back. Hi. Where do I start investing? We could talk about that. I'm 19. Okay, we'll get those questions done. Anything immediate before we go into this? The audio's still low. I adjusted it up. Let me just check it again. Any better? Maybe it's a little bit better now. There. Hopefully it's a bit better. We adjusted it up there. It's the third adjustment. So this time I turned it up. I don't want to go much louder because I don't want it to kind of crackle there or anything like that. So, okay, could be. Could just be like a computer thing. Let's go back in and pick a random property and let's talk about it. Because why not? Okay, let's do this, guys. What does Mike do when he goes to look on MLS? Let's find out. Okay, we're just gonna go Realtor. You guys are gonna see. I'm gonna do it for. Whoa, there's a new website. There's a new Realtor website. That sucks. Everything's been revamped. Gross. Don't like that actually. Filters. Of course, now I'm gonna look like an idiot because I don't know how to use this website. Where's the map? I always go to the map, guys. I don't know what happened to the map. I'm just gonna hit get started and see what happens. Name, need a realtor? No. I'll go to the map. Give me the map. Can someone help me here? I've not used Realtor, I guess, since it's updated. Meet a realtor, mortgage calculators? No. Find a home? Yes. Let's find a home. There we go. Hey! Guys, can you see? It's got us focused. Okay, we're gonna go on the map. Brand new. I've actually not used this new. Like the site looks totally different than what I did a few days ago. Gross, by the way, guys. Gross. I don't like this new layout. Maybe I'll get used to it. Okay, so we're on the public. This is what you guys are gonna see when you go to Realtor.ca. It's not the private, what you're gonna see as an agent or whatever, stuff like that. It's gonna be like just what I'm seeing if I'm pretending to be you guys going on the open MLS. So let's say this is like where I live, but we can just look at some properties in my area. You can apply some filters. Ew, all the filters are different. It's so gross. So apply say 150,000 to 500,000 just for fun. Let's just see what comes up. Well, there's a couple deals. Okay. Let's pull some properties. Ooh, gross. $1 million. None of these are really great to look at. Like, if you want, I can grab some of these single family houses. They're all like 500,000 range where I live. Like this one's $1 million. It could never cash flow. I'm not even gonna look at it because it makes no sense, right? 3-car garage, whatever, stuff like this. There's no point in us looking at a property like that because there's no value add at that point. It's probably at its max value. It's got nice pictures. $1 million listing. They're not gonna mess around. Nothing there. Let's go somewhere where it's a bit cheaper. Maybe down here, south of Gainsborough. Okay, some condo for $219. Now, my area that I live in is very difficult to cash flow. You got to really look hard for properties in this area that cash flow. And you got to find ways to make them cash flow. Like my house here, it's like a $500,000 house to make it cash flow. I bought it for $414 something. Like I got 9 bedrooms, 5 baths, so I can make this thing cash flow because it's a beast of a house. But most of none of my neighbors could. They're all like 4 bed, 4 bath, and their market rents would be like $1,900, $2,000 a month, and the house is $500,000 valuation. So the numbers make no sense. But okay. Martin, why do I know of this deal? Don't tell me this is on Argyle. Okay, we'll get to that in a sec. I've seen a property that sounds like that. Is this that White House? We should chat on it. I think they're asking too much. Maybe I'm thinking of a different property. There's a lot of big properties there in the Blackfriars kind of area. We should chat on it though, because maybe there's something there. Okay, let's look at this property, do a live analysis. Of course, it has like no pictures, which is gonna make it terrible for a live analysis. But okay, we've got 40 Fairfax Court, unit number 37. If you guys can see this on my computer here, probably can't, but it's like a 2-story, 3-story walking up. If I go back here, you might get a glimpse. It might focus up. Put my face near it. Find my face, camera. I should do like an OBS screen sharing, but oh well. Anyway, so we got a condo here. It's 40 Fairfax Court in London. You guys can bring it up too if you want, just for fun. let's see what it's all about. Looks like it's a condo. It's got like the basement, you drive up into the garage. Like the garage is on the basement level. And then you've got a second story, which is like the main floor, and then another story above that. So it's like kind of 3 stories. They're attached condos. So it says description. Excellent starter home or investment in fast-growing Northwest London. That's true. London has grown 18% last year. My little market, London, is growing faster than other areas in London because it's the highest average income and it's a place you want to live. It's far from the methadone clinics. It's far from the government support offices. So most of the losers live downtown, live East London, a little bit of Soho, South London. You don't get that. They can't go this far up north. So you get a little bit better everything. So I like this area a lot because the tenant profile is better. The appreciation tends to be better because people want to move from Toronto, they move into London, they want to live in the better areas. You get a better tenant profile here. You can also target students in this area because you're close to Western University. So there's some versatile options. Quite spacious, 3+1 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, including a master bedroom with ensuite. Ooh. Large living room with vaulted ceiling. Walk to the backyard with matured trees. Single garage attached. Direct bus number 32 and number 9 goes straight to UWO, which means University of Western Ontario. That's true. I know exactly about that one. Close to Masonville Mall, University Hospital, shopping, restaurants, and library. Excellent opportunity. Unit needs some TLC and has been priced accordingly. TLC is tender loving care. Okay, so can't see much because there's no pictures, which sucks. Sometimes the listing agent does that because they know the unit's so bad they don't put pictures in, but I just don't. It's always better to put pictures, I think, unless the unit's really bad. We could assume that it is. So at $219, this house seems really expensive, so it's a bad one to analyze, but probably not going to buy it, but let's do it anyway. So $219,000. Let's say you put an offer in at $205,000. There's a bit of negotiating room you could probably do, but let's run our numbers at $210,000. That's probably the most I'd ever want to pay. Like the most you'd ever want to pay for a said listing like this. So you probably get it for $200 if you know how to negotiate with a decent agent. I don't know why people pay list price. Not in London anymore. You don't need to pay list price right now. So insurance on a condo like this. So because it's a condo, it should have condo fees. So let's go look in the listing and see if there's any condo fees listed. It's built in 1978, single family, 3-story condo, attached garage. Of course, does it have condo fees? Okay. So the maintenance management company for the condo is Village Property Management. There is a maintenance fee for $275 a month, and the maintenance fees include landscaping, property management, and water. And when they say property management, they don't mean your individual unit, they mean the general grounds of the property, the parking lot, that kind of stuff. So it basically includes grass, snow, icing, water. Nice thing about that is if a tenant ever slips and falls, they sue the condo corp, not you. So it's really nice in that sense because you have a lot less liability. And usually it includes insurance as well. They haven't listed it here, but I'm assuming it includes insurance. The building is insured by the insurance company. So the roof, the windows, typically that's the responsibility of the insurance company or of the property management company and their insurance policy. So that $275 includes certain things. Key thing to note here is it actually does include the water as well. So your utility bills, your water would be included with the property management fee, right? The condo fee of $275. Now, one thing you want to do on a property like this is, I know this board here, and there's some people who have bought properties in here. The condo corp, I've looked over some of the stuff in their charters and their rules. You want to make sure that they're properly funded. Make sure that they have enough reserve there for a new roof or windows, new siding, whatever they have to do to the exterior of the property. So when we're doing condo analysis, we need to make sure that, are you guys still there? People still watching? Get any value here? Hopefully I'm still on. Yeah, I know you guys can't see it because my screen is kind of far away here. I don't know if it'll zoom in or not, but I'm kind of talking out loud for you guys, enunciating the points. One key thing to note here, it has a rental water heater, so you're going to pay Reliance for a rental water heater, $20 a month. So you can kind of get a feel for that's going to be a cost you're going to have to bear unless you buy that out. It has baseboard electric heating, so that is going to be a cost for you, unfortunately. Bit of a bummer. It says municipal sewage, municipal water, brick finish. Looks like brick and siding finish. It has like the roof tiles there, like they've done the shingles on the side of the house. I don't love that. They get lifted up, they get peeled, and then they get damage in there. It's not a great build quality, but they're not bad, right? It's not a bad property overall. I've seen a lot of condos in this. I've been through like 5 or 6 in this complex, so I know the layout of these properties. I know what they can be. I've seen someone at one point do one of these with the walkout at the back where it had 6 bedrooms, which was kind of cool. He cranked out a ton of rental income as a student rental. So there is the opportunity in the bones of this property to convert it to a 6-bed. But we'll work with what we've got. We've got 4 beds and 3 baths. So we'll work with what we've got, and I assume just like 2 big living rooms and a wasted space in the basement area. So let's go with some numbers. It's built in 1978. If I didn't mention that, something's kind of cool. So we got the $275 condo fee. We need to make sure with condos, I adjust down. Oops, wrong spreadsheet. Adjust down the utilities because the water is included in the condo fee, and the insurance. You really just need contents insurance. So you get really, really cheap insurance because insurance is covered through your condo fee, and your maintenance will be significantly lower because windows, roof, all of that exterior stuff is covered by the condo corp. Now, I'm not a big fan of condos. I try to stay away from condos mostly because the condo fees are too high. Like I get my tenant to maintain my grass and maintain my tenants do all of that for me. So now in this case, I guess I can say to the tenants, hey, it's all done for you. And students love that. So there is some appeal to having that, but I typically find that the condo fee eats too much of the profit and tend to be overpriced for what you get after the condo fee is kind of figured out. Okay, let's keep going. So we've got this analysis tool. By the way, guys, if you go to my website, 25 and free right now, and you click on, actually go to one of my previous, yeah, you go on 25 and free. I actually uploaded a free tool. You can just scroll down and you see one of the articles. This is for download. Like right now, you can bring this up if you guys want to and follow along. I gave my free template here. It needs a lot of updating. I know it's not a great version, but it's something. And it has a buy versus no buy kind of automated function built into it. It's very, very basic Excel that I have had for like 5 years that I made a long time ago. But it's something. And I'll tell you whether you should buy a property or not in your market. Adjust it for your market, but this is adjusted for London. So $210,000 purchase price. Because it's a condo, your insurance, typically I expect a property like this with just contents insurance should be around $350 a year for insurance. That's roughly what I would pay. Now I shop for insurance. I have some good brokers who give me great rates. Now that's an advantage of that distinct edge, right? The camera finds my face. Okay, rental license. Ooh, here's a nugget of wisdom for you guys. The rental license program in London sucks. It's so bad. For instance, you got like a $300 fee to set it all up. You have to do drawings of the property, et cetera, et cetera. If you have fire inspection, property standards inspection, they make you do all this crap. Condos and townhouse attached properties are exempt from the rental license program here in London, Ontario. I had a chat. Me and Matt McKeever were actually we have a video in the backlog of us doing a micromat. It was a smasher pass. Micromat on fire. It was a smasher pass. And he didn't even know that. He's like, really? I didn't know condos and townhouses. I talked to a lot of investors who are big investors and they didn't know, right? And so I didn't know this until a couple years ago. I stumbled upon it on the website and realized that I had an illegal duplex that was a condo, and it was a townhouse vacant land condo, so I had no fees. I owned this property. It was 7 of us that owned this. We each owned our individual land, and they dissolved the condo corp, so we each owned our own land, maintained our own grass and everything. We got together and did our eavesdrops for $30 a year. That was our only fee. But I was exempt from the rental license program. So the city of London couldn't come by and fine me. They could not say, hey, it's an illegal duplex. They couldn't get in. You can Airbnb. It's exempt from the Airbnb rules. So if the city of London ever regulates and says no Airbnbs, condos are regulated by the condo board. So if the manifesto, the charter doesn't say anything about renting Airbnb, you can do Airbnb. But I'm a big fan of row house attached. It can't be semis. Semis, you have to get rental licenses, but row house attached. Huge value tip there I just gave you guys. A lot of people don't know that, but this is like a little gold mine. There's no rental license fee at all. No hassle with the city of London. That alone is worth thousands. People are going, like you guys watching this stream, I should do a video just on this. But people are going to Windsor, right? A lot of people are running to Windsor. A lot of people messaging me saying, hey, I need to go to Windsor because I need to avoid the rental license program. You can avoid the rental license program here in London, Ontario, and the fire inspection, and the property standards, all of it. If you just buy vacant land condos. They have no condo fees. You just own a property that's attached. Or you buy like 3 or 4 in a row. You become the condo board. You have no rental license problems. You can do whatever you want. You can put 20 students in your unit. And imagine now if you owned the condo corp. Like if I went and bought a small, there's 10 condos. I'm looking at a couple right now. And I was the condo board. I would allow Airbnb, of course, because they're all my 10 units. And I would allow whatever I want. And the city can't do anything about it. So the rental license program doesn't apply to condos. So in this property, you can convert it to 6 beds. In fact, most of the renovations go through the condo instead of going through the City of London for building inspection. You do it through the condo. You get approval from the condo corp whether you can do renovation or not. So anyway, you could crank out. You're allowed 2 students a bedroom. That's no problem. I could put eight international Indian students going Western here and charge them $300 a person, not a bedroom. So there's a huge cash flow strategy here. It actually worked out. I picked this crappy property and I thought, you know what, this isn't going to be a good buy. But you know what, there is an angle to almost every deal if you come at it with the right lens, the right filter. And that's really important. Like the lens or the filter you use to think about, you know, the analysis of the deal can make or break the deal. So hopefully that was an interesting little tidbit for you guys if you don't like the rental license program here. And a lot of people say, I'm sick of the city of London. Okay, go buy a bunch of vacant land condos, townhouses, or just regular condos like this one. Okay, property taxes. I don't know the property taxes. I have to go look it up, but to save time, I'm just going to do an assumption. I know roughly what they're around 2,000 in that condo corp area. Maintenance expense is going to be very low because the condo corp maintains all of the exteriors. So you just have interior damages to maintain. So I'm going to drop that down to, let's call that 325 percentage point. I'm doing all of my equations on this thing grabbed from. I'm adjusting the percentages for the property, right? So all these percentages grabbed from the value of the property. This was like I put in general percentages for you guys, so it auto-calculate. You just put in the property value, and it should auto-calculate your maintenance for you on an average detached property in London, Ontario. So I adjust the maintenance way down, just lowered it down. One other way to do that is just put it in brackets here. Put a bracket around this valuation and just minus like, I don't know, 400 from that. Boom. Or like, that's too much. Minus like 200. Whoa, I screwed that up. There. Okay, we'll put it like 850. You know what, we'll put it like 450. 650. Okay, we'll leave it at 650. That's what we'll do. Mortgage at 3.2%. I think you guys can do better than that on a property like this. So you'll probably get like a little bit better than that, depending if you want a variable or fixed rate mortgage. So that's kind of something to do. I put 20% down payment in the calculator automatically. That's kind of what I always go for. You avoid the private mortgage insurance and all of that, and you get to do effectively, you know, that's the lowest amount you can put down without paying all those fees to CMHC and private mortgage insurance, PMI. Vacancy rate 1%, because this market we have almost no vacancy rate. Now let's do the revenue. Interestingly, we can do the units. So there's one unit, but what could you do? So I've at purchase at the low side and at the target, but let's just do at purchase 0. And what would be the target rents possible? So there's not only one unit in this property, unfortunately. Maybe you can convert it into a sort of a duplex because it's got that walkout basement in this area typically. So there might be a play here. I have to see the property to see if this one does have the grading that allows for that French, like usually there's like a sliding door at the back of the house that allows for sort of like a bachelor unit and lower. And the city of London doesn't do rental inspections. So if you put 2 people in a room, it's whatever, that's allowed as long as they're on one lease. You can't rent by the bedroom. You probably could and say you wouldn't know, but anyway, I would just say you have more flexibility in condo, assuming the manifesto allows for it. In this one, I know there's a lot of students and they don't seem to care. I'd have to read the charter and see whether they would allow for that, just because you don't want the condo breathing down your neck. If they don't allow student rentals, there are some near Fanshawe College that don't allow student rentals. So then you can get in big trouble from the condo board, get fined, stuff like that, make you kick your tenants out, whatever. So that's not good either. You don't want to run into that issue. That's what I didn't, when I originally was investing, I didn't like the control that condo corps have. They say you can't do this. You can't put a bathroom in your basement. You can't put a bedroom in your basement. So they control that. But vacant land condos are great because they have no control of what you do and you're protected from rental licenses, typically. Same with like row housing. Row housing is great too. Big fan of that. So what do we say? We go back to the listing here for a sec, real quick. We said it was an investment property in a great area. We'll say it's 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. The master bedroom has an ensuite. So when it has an ensuite in that area, students will typically pay about $650 a month for a nice, those master bedrooms in those condos are really big. An ensuite, nice big closet, that you can get $650 there, no problem for that master ensuite. Now, the other rooms aren't as big. You could probably get about $495 for those other rooms, $495. And the guy in the basement gets his own level basically to himself, I think is the layout of this condo. I'm assuming that's the layout kind of where they got the 1 bedroom in the basement with its own bathroom and kind of on his own level, which is nice, his own access. And then the main floor is kind of like a kitchen, living room, all that kind of stuff. And then in the upper, you've got master ensuite and 2 more bedrooms in the final level. So that's typically the layout of these. So I'm just going to assume $550 a month so you can get, this is fixed up by the way, and it said it needed some work. So We can adjust down here some renovations. We can put in, you know, maybe $10,000 in renovations for cosmetic, paint, flooring, etc. We can kind of run some numbers and see what the valuation should be. Now, it's hard to get as much upside on a condo because you're really regulated by what other ones are selling for in the complex. With single families, there's a bit more play, a bit more appreciation. For some reason, the London condos didn't typically appreciate near as well. However, in Northwest London, there were some condos that were more the blue sided condos. They used to sell for like 90 grand. Now they're selling for 200. So they've appreciated faster than the detached homes. It's because they're such a low price point. That's why it happened. Those are anomalies. Those are anomalies. So we've got our mortgage principal and our management, which is 0. We'll just put management at 0 for now. I'm assuming you guys are buying this property yourself just for easy numbers. So revenue, we're going to grab from down here, total annual revenues. So on a property like this, you've got, oh geez, utilities have to be updated as well. Now utilities on a property like this, you're going to have baseboard electric heating, which sucks. So if you could make your tenants pay, that'd be way better. Some of the students don't want to do that, so you might have to include utilities to get those premium rents I just discussed. Like if you guys remember, I just went through the rents. I'll walk through it again so people can kind of get a chance to. Whoa, damn formula, forgot a bracket. There we go. Okay, so in this one, I broke up the bedrooms as 650, 495 for the second bedroom, 495 for the third bedroom, and 550 for the basement kind of bedroom on its own bathroom, just because they have that exclusivity. They're Western student or something like that. And so I would sign one lease, not by the bedroom. I'd sign one lease for $21.90. They would all be on one lease. So one lease for this property for $21.90 a month, including utilities. Now I could probably get $1,900, $1,950, $1,995 plus utilities. So those are kind of some options we could weigh out. You could do 2 different options, but for easy numbers, we'll just say it's all inclusive for now. And we'll say the utilities are around, probably, it depends how well it's insulated, but I would assume electric baseboard heating. Most of the tenants will plug in their own space heaters. Like I'll bring a nice efficient heater that'll allow them to get a bit better economy than using those old baseboard electric heaters because they suck. One option is to put a furnace in too, and then basically you run natural gas ducts through the house, so then it's cheaper to heat. But the advantage, here's an advantage, guys. Those condos that are electric baseboard, I know they don't have gas lines. The hot water tank is electric, and the heating is electric. So there is no gas line into the property, no gas appliances, it's all electric. So the gas bills from Union Gas in London have a $40 a month administrative fee before you use any gas. Like from the first bit of gas you use, it's $40 right there. If you use like turn your gas off and on, it's $40 your bill. You don't have that $40 a month every single month plus usage. So you actually save that gas administrative fee from Union Gas. So there is a distinct advantage to having no gas line run to the property. Now, if you already have gas in your property, you don't want to have baseboard heating. But some people don't realize there's an advantage to not having a gas line to the property. And the water is covered by the condo corp, right? So there's no water. Tenants use as much water as they want, and there's no gas. You only have an electricity bill for the house. That's the only utility. So even in the worst of winter, it's like $400 a month to heat electric baseboard heating on your hydro bills. And that usually includes that usually on my property includes a bit of water usage too. The water's taken off. It's just hydro. So I would say on average between the summer 6 months, you're probably looking at around $275 a month for just hydro because there is no gas and there is no water. And then you have to add in condo corp fees. Now this isn't geared up for condo corp, so I'm going to call the management the condo, right? So management is $275 a month times 12. So that's your condo fee. It's $275. So it's $3,300 a year. Now let's run the numbers. You got insurance for $350 for contents, the inside of your property. You've got utilities of $3,300 a month because remember you have no gas bill and no water bill. They're included. There is no gas run to the property. It's just electric for everything. And what did we forget? In that $275 for utilities, I'm including the $20 a month to Reliance for that hot water tank. You could buy that out and save yourself $20 a month. The numbers work out in about 5 years. You get a great payback, 20% a year. So most people might want to buy out their hot water tank if it's not going to break. You got to run the numbers and say, hey, like if this were to break or maintain, what it's going to cost me, and you can run the cost-benefit analysis associated with that. Property taxes around $2,000 a year. Maintenance expense $650 a year once you fix it up. Mortgage principal $3,763. Mortgage interest $5,400 a year. Management $3,300 a month. And that's the property condo fee. So We have a total cost of $18,739.20 for this property to operate. We have revenue of $26,280 a month. So, forget taxes for a sec. Your net benefit is almost $10,000 a year on this property. Now that's just mortgage pay down and free cash flow. That's not appreciation. That's assuming the property stays flat forever and you can never sell it for more. Now that's probably going to happen too. But if you look at the high level analysis, you got $819 a month coming in each and every month. This property meets the numbers, right? If you look at the data, you got free cash flow of $628 a month plus mortgage pay down of another $320 a month roughly. So you've got some decent cash flow. This is a random property I just picked right now. It needs a little TLC. I've seen it on the market, like it's probably been there for like a week or two. I think I remember the listing, seeing it had been there a little while. So you could probably put an offer in. It's not going to be a multiple offer situation. You'll probably be all right. Negotiate this bad boy down for 200 grand. Maybe you spend 10 grand, make it nice. The carpets are probably all stained. It's probably gross in there. It says it needs TLC. So I'd assume the inside needs some work. Luckily, the outside won't need much work because the condo maintains all of that. So let's look at the numbers. What is the payback? So when I do payback calculation, if you look, it's your down payment, so the amount of capital you put into the project. In this case, on a $210,000 purchase price, you have to put in $42,000 down payment at 20% down. So you need $42,000 in cash to buy this property, plus maybe $5,000 in closing costs for land transfer tax, legal fees, etc. Now, if it's your first purchase you've ever bought, you don't pay land transfer tax, you get that back. So your closing costs would be a couple grand if that. So you'd be pretty darn close to 42 grand on your first property down. On a property like this, right now, London, Ontario's for sale, you can put an offer in on it. Okay, so what I do is I take my net benefit. So net benefit is mortgage pay down plus free cash flow each and every month. So that divided by my down payment tells you how long I get my down payment back if appreciation is flat and if you add no value. The reason I'm conservative about this is because I think you shouldn't rely on adding value. Now I do add a lot of value. I'd probably be able to add value and sell this for like $275,000 once it's nice and I put in great tenants on a lease. Another investor walks up and says, wow, you're getting $2,200 a month in rent on this place? Like, that's amazing. Your annual rent is like $27,000 a year. That's great. The cash flow is amazing. I don't have to do a thing. It's turnkey. They'll pay you a premium for that. So you could probably double your down payment just by adding value in this property, just by fixing it up and making it nicer. So there's tons of value to add in that respect. I know we're going late here. I'm going to finish up this and then wrap up. It's my daughter's bedtime. It's almost 9 o'clock here. Hopefully you guys got value from this. I'm going to put a timestamp in there for people to jump to this last analysis. Because I'm going to do this every single week. We'll do one property every single week. Maybe you guys suggest it. Maybe I just go on and pick it at random. We'll kind of figure it out as we go. Hi, Emma. But there you go. And then, so that's your payback. So you get your down payment back just from rental income profit. Not appreciation, not refinancing. You get your down payment back in 3.7 years. All of your money back. If you own a property in 3.7 years, you get it all back. Yep, Daddy's almost done. Daddy's almost done. Just let Daddy finish up, okay? Banging her hands against the glass. I gotta hurry, guys. I gotta hurry. ROI is 26.91%. So it meets the over 25% ROI without appreciation. So you can see I just took in the calculator just the net benefit. So there is no appreciation factor in here. Appreciation is 0. Now there's also an adjusted, you guys can see an adjusted, what I call true ROI with appreciation set at, I usually use 3%. So at 3%, your true ROI is 41.9%. 41.9% in this property. That's it. And that's not even anything special. Matt, how you doing? Good to see you on. Hopefully you guys got some value from this real deal analysis. I'm going to try to do this more towards the start of the segments, I think, and then get into the live question and answer. We're going to just pick a property, go through it, use the template. You guys can go on and download the same template I have. We can follow along. We can analyze the property. Maybe someone wants to buy this property. It's actually a buy. Very close to my, I probably wouldn't quite offer on this because I'm looking for really sexy deals. But this deal would be a good first deal for someone. They could have net benefit of $942, almost $1,000 a month in their pocket. 5 properties, they have $5 grand a month coming in, almost $4,500 coming in a month. And 5 properties at 40 grand each is $200,000 in capital. $200,000 gets you $5,000 a month. Where can you get that in public equities? You can't. So hopefully this guy's added some value for you. So in our rent chart, I should have broken it out. I was just running out of time. Next time I'll break out per room so you can see how I rent things out. This is on the high side for rents. Probably market rent, all inclusive, is between $2,000 and $2,300, I would say, on the high. I'm pretty good at getting max rents, so that's one of my distinct advantages. You can see the adjusted cap rate on the property is 9.8. So this property actually does cash flow fairly well. Now that's probably doesn't include condo fees because my cap rate isn't adjusted for condo fee. Do you know anything about the Vegas mastermind transportation? I don't know what you're speaking to specifically. People are flying. I'm probably going to drive down. That's probably what I'm going to do a road trip. Yeah, Thomas. So there you go, guys. This is just a random condo in this condo corp. You know, the idea you do due diligence, of course, when you're putting an offer on a property. Before you put an offer, get a look at the articles on the corp. You know, take a look at the charter, the manifestos. Find out, talk to some people who own condos in there. I'll knock on some doors and say, hey, what's it like owning a condo here? Are you an owner? Are you a tenant? Whatever. Find out the profile of the condo mix. There's a lot we could talk about before you go ahead and buy, but based on the numbers I'm seeing right now, purchase price we grabbed right here at 210, right? We put 10,000 in renovations. Our all-in price is 220,000 plus a little bit of closing costs. And I think your exit strategy could be, I would take my income, right, my high level income, and divide it by 0.09. That's just like the top line income divided by 0.09, 0.10 is about what things are selling for right now. Is a quick and dirty. That's without me doing a net cap rate, just a gross. Based on the current market right now, it should be worth, once fixed up, like once made really nice and proper leases in place and all this, it'll sell for around a 9 gross, 292 sale price. So you put 10,000 in, you put a little bit of sweat equity, you pay your agent $50, $100 in commission to sell it, you get some closing costs of $1,250 because the closing side doesn't cost near as much as the buying side. You probably could close for $800. I've seen some people closing costs like $800, but whatever, you know, leave it that. You've got a final proceeds of $285,000 after the sale at 282, and your net profit on sale is $65,000, guys. You put 42,000 in, made 65,000 profit. You got $100 and something thousand out of it. You put 42 in, plus 10, 52 in, closing costs, 55 in. You're walking away with well into 6 figures. You doubled your money, and you got good cash flow. There's a real deal. There's a real deal. Live analysis for you guys. Each and every week, I'm going to throw one of these in here now. I'm going to put a timestamp. If you got value from this stream, please let me know. I apologize if I missed some people's questions. We're now past 9 o'clock. I will promise I will go back. And if you take your question, you copy and paste it into the comments here after the video gets put up for replay, I promise that I'll answer that question. That's a promise. As always, guys, if you want to unlock a wealthier you need to spend less, you need to earn more, and you need to maximize returns. Those are the 3 levers you have to play with. And real estate sure does help you get there faster, but it's all about spending less, earning more, and maximizing returns. I hope everyone enjoyed the live stream. I hope you enjoyed the content, the quality. If there's any suggestions to make this better, please let me know. I'd like to maybe do a screen share where you guys can see what I'm doing. Or maybe I'll bring my computer closer next time so that it's in focus. Because when I get further away, you guys can't see the same things. And hopefully we'll download the same templates. We'll make them better together. And hopefully everyone gets a bit of value from this live stream. I'm hoping that is, you know, I'm seeing people here saying it's valuable. Thanks, Mike. Really appreciate the value. Condo's a great buy. You know, it's not a bad buy, actually. So I'll see you guys next week, live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific for the Wise Wealth Show. For me, Mike Rosehart, I just do live Q&A, update you on my life, and now we're going to add to it that I'm going to do a real live deal analysis each and every week. I'm hoping to workshop something as well each and every week. So see you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. If you're still watching at 2 hours in on the replay, I need to hear about that. I need to see it in the comments that you watch this, and please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel and notification bell. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye. Bye. See you guys. Okay, ending stream now.